I never really understood what environmental justice was really until I got to Harrisburg. While there were a lot of green spaces in the city, the quality differed between a red line area versus a green zone area.
I noticed from a very young age that the things that I like to do in my community and the things that I needed in my neighborhood just weren't there.
I was born into an Appalachian family who would always talk about their love for rolling hills and creeks and creatures, but they would never say the word environmentalism or, like resource conservation or anything like that.
Seeing the effects of environmental injustice and people not know what that's about, or people having competing priorities and not being able to really focus on the fact that they live next to an incinerator or the fact that they live next to pollution plants until it's too late, until living next to them you have cancer now, and it's like, okay, now I have to worry about this.
In my first elementary school, there wasn't the cleanest water. In my second school, there also wasn't the most clean water. There was also problems with lead and how old the building was, and we didn't have grass in our school playgrounds. So I noticed kind of the differences of resources based on where you lived, what zip code you were in. I was raised to use my voice and amplify the voices of others, and once I came to know of this issue, I didn't want to stay silent about it, and I wanted to bring more attention to the unfairness.
Equity and sustainability are intrinsically linked. You can't have a sustainable population if a population doesn't have what they need to thrive. And thus, if we don't create systems that support the needs of the people, we won't have systems that manage in ways that support every other part of the collective.
I think a lot of marginalized voices are not brought up in the topics of environmental justice, although it actually often tends to impact people like me the most.
Sustainability sort of feels like a luxury at this point when it shouldn't be. It should be a right, especially for communities and people of diverse backgrounds who have to face the burden of climate change and environmental pollution. You can't create approaches to sustainability without including every single person, and DEI makes sure of that.
And I think it's so important to consider the culture and the livelihoods of the people that we as environmentalists are going to be affecting by trying to push for change.
Without a lens of equity and without interrogating the systems in place that propose barriers to all people to have self-determination, we will continue to see disparities among racial and income lines.
I think the strongest solutions and the best solutions come from a think tank of people that come from different backgrounds, who have different experiences, who have different expertise.
It's important that higher education institutions continue to work on equity and sustainability because they're a place of learning and growth. We see education having such a huge role in people's mindsets and what they care about, and thus their actions.
Higher education provides a simple framework, getting people who have the same interests into the same room and giving them as much knowledge as an institution can to go out into the world and do good.
The researchers of tomorrow, basically the people who are building the world for tomorrow, who are going into the professional spaces, are coming out of these higher institutions.
And I think that higher education institutions have such a unique opportunity to really explore the connections between justice and sustainability. And I think doing so has already helped to inform the environmental movement in so many ways. And at the end of the day, this is really one effort.
It has been the most effective way for change making to happen. Young people want to see their lives shift in ways that ensure our future and ensure our health and ensure the health of our communities. And thus, we're really motivated to get it done. And by catalyzing that really strong ambition that we have to make change making happen, you can ultimately change the way that communities run, change the way that systems serve the people, change the way that policies impact people both within the college and outside of the college. So it's all interconnected.
I would really like to see institutions begin to take environmental science, environmental studies outside of just the one department. I don't want to see it sequestered to just one floor in one building. I want to see it across the entire campus. I think it belongs across the entire campus.
I challenge institutions to make environmental justice a course requirement for all majors.
Making an effort into talking about it as part of coursework could make a huge difference in people's lives beyond just the liberal arts and humanities.
I challenge you to see environmental justice as a lens to planning, partnership, implementation, and evaluation, not as an add-on.
I challenge institutions to ensure that their resources are being directed to every member of the community in ways that are equitable. And that includes students and dining staff and professors and people who live off campus and aren't even affiliated to the college. We're all connected, and the power of one element of the community leads to the power of another element of the community.
I would challenge my institution to get the students away from just being at the lab bench. You can't ignore something and think that it just doesn't exist because you're not talking about it. You need to talk about it, and you need to take a stand, not only for your students, but for the community that walks past the school every single day. You can go out and help the community, but if you're not helping and equipping them with the skills and the tools to advocate for a safer environment, knowing that this environment is not safe, then you're failing as an institution and you should do better.
My name is Natalie Richards, and I'm a student at Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, PA.
My name is Rose Reed, and I attend Penn State University.
My name is Abigail Thomas, and I go to Westchester University.
My name is Nyla Holland, and I graduated from Pennsylvania State University.
My name is London Desjarnais, and I'm a graduate of Allegheny College.
My name is Mia Ray, and I'm currently a human research technologist at the Penn State College of Medicine.